Hello everyone, this is me, Sojiro Gunner, and I'm a Christian. I used to be emo. Hard to believe, you might imagine, but I did go through quite a phase to get here, and it wasn't something that happened very fast or very fluid, but so this is my testimony, uh, part 5. Now, reason why I'm calling these parts, basically this is to go in further depths into a specific part of my testimony. In my first one I made, which not many people have seen, I kind of went through everything very briefly for the sake of time, of course. But this is just to kind of explain the situation a little in depth for those who really aren't aware of really what I'm about and what. So I do want to say um, that I have proof that I was emo and that did definitely have a phase where I was emo. In fact, my earlier videos where I first showed my face, I was wearing a wig. And I also had eyeliner on that video, I believe. As you can see, I still have the wig. I actually have about 3 of these things. But I have essentially one of these cheap wigs that I bought, I believe on eBay or something. They're like around $12 or so. You just kind of unfold it like so, and yeah, it just kind of looks like regular straight hair. And this was one of the wigs I used to wear. I think this was like one of my favorite ones. But yeah, I'm not gonna wear it just because I don't care about it. I don't really want to wear it. It's not something I would enjoy doing, but it's actually just kind of uncomfortable. The thought of me even wearing it again. As you can see, I also have eyeliner. You can see, I don't know if you could see it, if it's gonna zoom in, but this is a jumbo eyeliner. I didn't really know how to use the thin one, so I just got a jumbo one. I thought it would be easier to use. Back in my high school times, I was just very lonely. I didn't have many friends or people that I would consider friends, and basically I just was kind of by myself a lot of the times. I was kind of an attention seeker. I was looking for people that would accept me, not really based on my personality, but just because I existed. For me, being someone that was very different from other people was a very hard thing for me to accept. So I just tried to fit in by making jokes and being like a clown in class. I didn't listen to any music back then. I wasn't aware of any genres of music. I played video games, so I didn't know video game music, but I didn't know any other genres. And even when I found out about YouTube, and when I was in around 6th grade or something like that, I never really searched for music on it. I just kind of was watching, people that I admired at the time, and I got into YouTube because of the personalities that I was watching, and that's really what got me into it. Just the fact that there were all these videos that you could watch and just enjoy. So what led me down to this was mainly just a bunch of confusion. I was a very confused person back then. Basically, I didn't know who I was, what kind of person I was, and confusion with my sexual preference, or who I was, what kind of person I wanted to be when I grew up, or had anxiety issues, I was very depressed. There were many things too. I was looking for some sort of support in my life. I was in a relationship, but I'd say very vaguely a relationship, because there really was nothing to talk about with that. It was more so I couldn't handle that because I was involved in something that I wasn't ready for, simply. And I had always had the thought of being in a relationship, but I was never prepared for it. I was still worried about many of my own problems that I just could not handling other people's problems. Like I was terrible back then. Like I was mentally ill or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I was obviously not only depressed, not only dealing with my own anxieties, but I was also just dealing with a lot of confusion back then. And so just from that whole relationship aspect of kind of wanting to be able to initiate a conversation, to be able to talk with this person, and all these fears and doubts, just kind of got to me at some point and really made me, yeah, I'm not gonna deal with this anymore. I don't want to be in a relationship. That was definitely one factor that turned me into an emo, was just the heartbreak that really wasn't anything that the other person did. It was just more so my own anxieties and my own thoughts about it. So, but it was one day around 12th grade or so, I would stumble upon these two friends, which I only knew for about 1 year, and they didn't really serve too much of an importance. However, they did get me into a lot more music, and while I was not really immersed in music at all in that aspect, I was listening to some, I guess you could say, pop music ish. I remember liking Big Time Rush when I was younger. Those Nickelodeon shows, I suppose you can call them. But I was more into like the sad boy pop music or whatever you call it, like the emotional stuff. I got into Linkin Park. That was one of the first bands that I ever listened to on my own. And I was just kind of into the whole like angst, I suppose, the whole rebellious stuff, and that had an appeal on me. But then they brought in all these different bands because they had heard that I never even listened to any rock bands before or anything of that nature. They were, I mean, when I told them that, they were like shocked. So I had to tell them, yeah, I only know Linkin Park really. And he was like, "You like rock music?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like it." And they just showed me like a whole bunch of these different songs. Like I kid you not, they were literally sending me text messages of all these different song links to go on, and I just kind of got into this whole emo phase just based on that. And first band that I ever listened to was My Chemical Romance, Welcome to the Black Parade. Really a deep message if you think about it. Because, yeah, kind of the introduction to my whole rock and metal passion, I suppose, of liking that. And it did exactly that. It introduced me to liking rock music and kind of being like, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good stuff. It was kind of a progressive thing where I liked the bands I was listening to, but I wasn't super in love with them. I don't remember the whole discography of them, but I remember majority of them. Not, I wasn't a fan of majority of the stuff they showed me, but regardless, it did lead me into other types of music that I would listen to in that genre. And over the course of the year, I progressively just became emo. I started wearing a lot more black clothing. I fell in love with the color black. I just was kind of just having a side fetish if you really think about it. I was just liking the whole black aesthetic and just kind of rocking with a punk look. And I remember buying all these different jeans and all these different equipment stuff, and just absolutely obsessing over the idea like, oh, I gotta look like this, man. I gotta look so cool. And I remember like being so eager to like be this whole dark figure, whatever you want to call it, just with all these black clothes, these tight skinny jeans, which I still kind of wear. I still wear skinny jeans as of this video, but I don't like wearing black too often. I'm gonna explain that in a little bit. Even my friends noticing that I was changing, I was emo, and I wasn't very shy about it. And yeah, I still had a lot of problems back then, but I remember the music sort of helped. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say that music doesn't have an impact on your soul, because it does. It definitely will make you feel things, and if you're listening to sad music, it will definitely make you want to feel sad. Well, many will say that, oh, it depends on the person, it depends on their personality, if they get really in tune with the music that they're listening to. You know, I can't sit here and prove that everyone's gonna be emotionally attached to music the same way another person will be. So I'm kind of in between with that theory. But my point is, the music had an impact on me. It made me want to keep being emo and depressed. And I want to say about a year later, I continued going through all these different bands I would run into, and I would continue being a fan of emo, then alternative music, and then eventually metal about a year later when I found like Suicide Silence and all these other death metal bands. I would kind of get into death metal, which would be the next genre before I guess, kind of stick with metal and rock. Because right now I don't listen to much death metal. It's not really my cup of tea anymore. In my early college years, I also was getting into other things besides emo music. That would be wolves. And if you don't know what I'm talking about I was kind of under this kind of fetish, if you will, of wanting to become like a wolf or or anything like that. Kind of in the rebellious stages, I suppose. I kind of related to the wolves a lot because I used to feel as though, you know, I was very lonely and I was constantly faced with that reality in my early years of college years, and I progressively got more and more where I felt like I was a lonely person, and me embracing that kind of made me accept the reality of wanting to kind of mold myself into a wolf kind of figure, and I liked the idea of being a wolf or identifying as a wolf because it was something that I can kind of just rebel against society. I could just kind of, kind of be this primitive, primordial being, not having to worry about the troubles or anything of that nature, and just kind of literally becoming into nature and just being someone that I wouldn't have to stress about at all, and just kind of howl like the wolves and um, look for love, or that feeling that I didn't yet understand was that hole inside my soul that was causing me to look for a greater love. And I remember watching this show. I don't know how I found it, but I think it was Wolf Blood. That show got me into wolves a lot. Yeah, I didn't like the show much to begin with, but for the time I related with it enough and wanted to become a wolf and just howl to, just for the sake of it. I would be a happier person if I had someone in my life, which I had to at some point realize that that just wasn't going to happen, that even with this, if I had a person in my life, that I was going to feel empty and probably have a lot of greater issues, but these weren't really concerns at the time, so I just kind of rolled with it. And even for my birthday, I went with the whole goth look, and I tried to look as emo as possible on my 20th birthday, which I did succeed, you know. But anyway, point is that it was my 19th birthday, and I wanted to look as goth as possible, and I did. What got me out of the wolves phase was when I figured out about spirituality, which was around 20. Oh, God. It was spirituality which got me out of the wolf phase and all that. And I kind of accepted this kind of nature style of living, of meditating and seeking my true purpose. And believe it or not, just the idea of going outside really just kind of helped me, and it really just made me not be so depressed anymore. Just the idea of going outside. Did it solve all my problems? No. I still felt a bit of emptiness in my heart. I was still engaging in sin. I was still doing all these different things, and really I was still um horrible. But it got me outside. It got me thinking less about becoming a wolf or like a beast, if you will. That's kind of what my parents used to identify that is, and maybe they were right. A couple months later, I got into religion, which is Christianity, which is what I support. And my first video I watched was on January 30th, around that time, when I got onto my first video by, I would say, a popular Christian YouTuber at the time. And it was titled, God Wants Someone to Hear This Right Now. And that was my first one I ever watched. And while I didn't really know much about Christianity at the time, I kind of related with the energy of the video a lot, and it kind of reminded me of the days when I used to go into my spirituality. The spirituality YouTuber I used to watch, how he portrayed a similar kind of energy, and it just brought me back to those days, and I kind of wanted to invest myself in that just for the sake of finding something that I was truly passionate about. And I can't thank my mom enough, because she was the one that helped me to not think negatively about Jesus, and kind of helped me to understand. Just by telling her about the things I watched, she was able to help me to not trust in these people. And that was really what got me into Christianity. I don't think I would have wanted to become a Christian had I not told my mom about these things. But I did, and thank God I did, because I am a Christian now, and I don't have these problems anymore. I'm pretty happy where I'm at. So, but what got me into Christianity, finally I get to explain what got me into it, was simply the Christian YouTubers that I was watching at the time. And they helped me a lot to become who I am today. It wasn't until May or June of 2021 that I gave my life to Christ. Simply put, God saved me from depression. He saved me from these thoughts of being lonely, these thoughts of suicide and depression, anxieties. He saved me from all this confusion, all this negativity, and thank God, I'm finally free from it all. And since then, I've been a lot more happier as a person. I've been much, much more happy with who I am and all these different things. And I've kind of, over the years past, it's been about a year now since I've been a Christian, I've already made so many changes to myself, my lifestyle. I do prayer, I listen to more Christian worship music, Christian rock, Christian rap. And, I've just kind of, a lot of people just notice that I tend to be a lot happier most of the time, and that, I'm definitely not this negative person, this depressed person. God saved me from a lot of the things that I used to do that I used to think were good. I used to be in my sins, and I used to lust over people, hoping that would bring me satisfaction in life. He saved me from being lonely, and even though sometimes it's hard to really process God's mind and God's thinking, I always wound up trusting Him in the end. And God's just saved me from so many things, man. God's helped me with so many things in my life, of just transforming me really into a different being, supernaturally. I just, I don't even desire to wear the clothing that I used to wear. I don't desire to watch the same stuff I used to watch. And really, I'm grateful, really. Jesus has saved me from wanting to become emo, to wanting to become a wolf, all these different fantasies that I would have, all these different fetishes. And God has helped me to replace my emo music with music that worships Him, and God's helped me to feel that longing for Him in my heart, which was what I never thought was real, but it is real. And I promise you that God's the only one that can fill that void in your heart, that emptiness that everyone has. Because I used to feel it so badly, and I used to crave out just for someone to save me. And I realize now that it was God truly trying to talk with me and just kind of help me. And you know what? He's done it, man. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope this inspires someone to give their life to Christ, and I hope that this testimony of mine was a really impactful one to just kind of help whoever really needs to hear this message today. God bless you in Jesus' name. See you all in the next video. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the continuation of the emo Christian video. Now, the reason why I'm filming like this is just because I'm kind of lazy. I don't feel like setting up my camera again the same way, and honestly, I'm not going to do it because that took like over 20 minutes, so we're just gonna deal with this way for now. Now, basically, there was a couple questions that I wanted to ask, but I wasn't really able to do it because I was kind of rushing the video, and it might have seemed like I was rushing, but I honestly edited quite well, so you might not be able to tell that I was rushing the video. But anyway, so there was a couple questions or things that I forgot to mention in the video because there's a lot to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about it very briefly. The first one is being a Christian easy or perfect? The answer is no. No, it's not. It's not easy. I'm not perfect even now, and but my main thing is that my point was to say that as being a Christian right now, like I honestly have an easier time being a Christian. Like I don't go through the same struggles I used to, and even with all the the garbage that I go through, sometimes I'm able to usually overcome them, and I'm able to usually pray to God, and that will help get those problems away. Like if I'm feeling like really sad or anxious, I can usually pray to God, and that'll help. But that's just one example of how I think my life has become a lot better being a Christian compared to when I was in my emo days. Stuff that I would have trouble like that and wouldn't know how to get rid of those thoughts. So, but yeah, I still have tests and struggles because that's what life is. You're gonna go through that no matter what you believe in life, and you're gonna have to still be able to really help yourself overcome those things. And I would even say being a Christian, it's a lot of maturing and growing up, and it doesn't take like a month to really get everything I mean, some stuff like this takes years, and even then you may not be able to learn everything you need to know in life. So that's just the sad reality of that. Now, God's pictures, I'm not going to show it in this video. I might just show them in the thumbnail if I ever get the chance to, but whenever I get the chance to upload the video, then I'll do it. I plan on having a more high quality thumbnail this time around, so yeah, we'll see what I do with that. Now, the list of songs that they showed me, so the songs that I was able to gather, because there's honestly a lot more songs in there, but basically I couldn't find it. I know My Chemical Romance was one of the bands they showed me, but I don't think they sent that via text. I think it was just them mentioning in class or something. I might have written it down, I don't know. But the ones they first showed me was some Slipknot, Korn, Bring Me the Horizon, Deftones, Lamb of God, and a band named Death itself. Now, keep in mind, for context, I did say in the text that at the time I was into a lot of dark music, a lot of, I guess, with music with dark themes in it, so I guess they just assumed I liked, Satan music or something, I don't know. But that's pretty much what most of those bands are that they showed me, so. Alright, fourth question, why black is not my favorite color. This may need a video on its own, but pretty much in a nutshell, I don't really like the color black anymore because it's not for me. I still like the color a lot. I still kind of mishmash it, but as of right now, I mean, I'm trying to kind of get my own style, and I feel as though I just can't appreciate black the same amount that I used to, because like I said in the video, I was so obsessed with the color black that I just wanted it every single time I would pick a wardrobe. I mean, I'd be like, I gotta have black on every single day, and I don't know, it's just now that I kind of changed so much, it's like I just don't want to be bothered with wearing the color, to be honest with you. I can't see myself wearing all black for a very long time until, maybe I'm comfortable with it again. But for now, um, it's just exhausting. And yeah, I just want to experiment with other colors and just see what that's like, for now anyway. And last thing I wanted to mention was the game that started my fetish, I call it, was a game called Twilight Princess, Legend of Zelda. That game was pretty good, and transforming into a wolf makes perfect sense. At the time, it was kind of like I thought wolves were cool, and I think I was like inspired by that game to kind of want to transform into a wolf, and you know, because I love that game so much, it was just like it made me really um, have an emphasis. I wanted to become a wolf and wanted to be something more than who I was, I suppose. Um, so I guess that's what that was. And for a time perspective, that was during summer of 2020. It's back when I had the Wii U still, and I was one of the last games on the Wii U I actually played. So, but yeah, anyway, that's all I really wanted to say in this video. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably put this at the end of the video or something like that. But God bless.